I was shocked when I saw this video.
The cost of making these pieces is so low because of the exploitation of the market flexi garments. Oh, I know, bots.
About planet, Joe. What about planet? What about it?
Only do TikTok. We literally only do TikTok, so you won't find much information on us, guys. Thank God.
How come it's so cheap? Don't even question it, guys. Don't question it. Everything you see is legit.
65% polyamide. Polyamide? And we do our like warehouse and stuff.
We don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Anyways, that brings us to today's topic. The TikTok shop girlies scare me, which is probably the title of this video. I'm not sure yet, but more generally, the idea and the popularity of TikTok shop is what scares me. So let's talk about TikTok shop, or as some would call it, the QVC of millennials and Gen Z. If you don't know what QVC or HSN are, they're basically shopping channels that were very popular in, I would say, like the 90s, and they're still popular to this day.
This hairspray is amazing. Now, do you love my plump and thick?
I keep like 8 cans at a time.
Oh, girl, let me give you a kiss. That is good. Mwah. That one's got it. Whoa! I fell on my booty.
It's the same concept. It's live. People call in instead of writing comments. There's this sort of sense of urgency and offers and just like an intense shopping experience right from your TV. I never bought from QVC or HSN, but I used to watch it with my mom because sometimes it was just like fun and relaxing to watch. And most of the times the products weren't really that attractive, but sometimes they were. And you know, it was a moment in time, a cultural moment. So how is something that was so popular with boomers enticing millennials and Gen Z in the same way? But at the same time, as you can see from those videos I just showed you, splitting us. Let's talk about it. But first, if you're new here, I'm Carla. I make cultural commentary videos like this one. I also post cozy vlogs about my hobbies like crochet and just what I'm up to in my life in London. So if you're interested in any of that, I post twice a week. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers, which is so exciting. So if you want to join this wholesome little community, please hit the subscribe button. Otherwise, if you could like this video, if you do like it, that would mean the world to me. And I love responding to comments, so please let me know your thoughts down below. All right, back to the video. So here's how the head of digital marketing at a consultancy explained Gen Z's attraction to live shopping, specifically on TikTok shop. We know Gen Z are more likely to be swayed by reviews than any other generation. And live shopping taps into this so well because it plants that seed of urgency, driving sales because time might run out. Like I said, I used to watch QVC when I was, a teenager with my mom. It was just on and it was kind of relaxing. They're talking fast, they're showing you these great deals. Sometimes they're really hideous, so it's just kind of funny. Sometimes they're cute, you see something you might actually like. It's like a rapid fire shopping spree with just a bunch of ladies gabbing basically, and people calling in, explaining how much they loved it, asking if it'll come in other colors. It's just a very immersive experience that you can watch from your couch or with TikTok shop just from anywhere as long as you have your phone. And I think because Gen Z is probably more aware than other generations of the impact of overconsumption, I understand why they would be more swayed by reviews than other generations. Because if we as Gen Z can justify a purchase based on what other Gen Zers or just other people in general think of that product, we might feel better about it despite what we know about overconsumption. Does that make sense? That's kind of my theory. Also, if you're watching this part of the video, comment like a shopping bag emoji so I know who's watching. We're also incredibly anxious, so this sense of urgency that this head of digital marketing talks about, it makes a lot of sense. You might think, well, I do really want that product and I'm not going to see this deal again. Newsflash, you will see that deal again. So I need to buy it now, and it's so easy to do it straight from the TikTok app. So I get it. It's going to be popular. Yet we also see reactions like this to TikTok shop.
Some of the other creators who are trying to make money off of this app who are selling TikTok shop content. Have you considered doing literally anything else other than contributing to mass consumerism and fast fashion? Have you considered bartending? being a barista, working outside, teaching the youth of America. I just don't think it's ethical.
So opinions on TikTok Shop and live shopping are split. One camp loves the ease of it and the immersive experience, while the other camp is worried that this just promotes overconsumption and encouraging practices like dropshipping. Despite this divide, a report from Morning Consult revealed that even though Gen Z are the biggest demographic using TikTok, millennials are more likely to have used TikTok Shop relative to their platform usage, with 37% of millennials claiming to have made a purchase on TikTok Shop. Now, this is relative to usage, which I think is interesting. What this could potentially mean is that millennials use TikTok less than Gen Z, but when they do use TikTok, they spend more of their time shopping on TikTok Shop. We don't know from this report if Gen Z consumes less than millennials. We just know they consume less relative to their own usage of the app. The long and short of it is that people do purchase things on TikTok Shop. Even if you don't, and it kind of feels like, oh, this seems a little sketchy sometimes, the deals are too good to be true, the materials are horrible, no one's buying this, they're buying it. They're buying it. And no hate to you if you've bought something on TikTok Shop. Like, I talk about sustainable and conscious shopping a lot on my channel. We're all balancing, pressures to buy more with our awareness of the environmental impact, with the awareness of the economy, and just trying to balance everything. So this isn't an attack on someone buying from TikTok Shop, but rather just wanting to start a conversation about it. A spokesperson from TikTok Shop told Just Style that 44% of its users have made a purchase directly on TikTok, and 1 in 4 of its users are purchasing on the platform at least once a month. I thought this was shocking. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot more. I don't know if it's a lot more than I would have thought, but it just seems wild to me. That's almost half the people who use TikTok have bought something at least once, and then a quarter of people are buying something once a month on TikTok. Like, wow. Let me know in the comments if that surprises you, if you're like, yeah, obviously people are buying stuff from TikTok Shop once a month. I thought a quarter of people making a monthly purchase is pretty wild, but I don't know. So let's talk about who we're dealing with when we talk about TikTok. I like TikTok. I post on TikTok. I don't think it should be banned, but it has its issues, safe to say. This is from an article in the Financial Times, which was really good at looking into the culture of working at TikTok, specifically in London. Joshua Ma, owner of the viral video app and the head of e-commerce at TikTok Europe, outraged London-based staff at a dinner this year when he said that, as a capitalist, he didn't believe companies should offer maternity leave. So that is the person who owns TikTok and is head of e-commerce at TikTok Europe. This is their mindset about capitalism, and they're not ashamed of it, Which I think tells us a lot about TikTok Shop, not just being another website to shop on, but being a shopping portion of a wildly popular and addicting app that is owned by someone who doesn't even think companies should offer maternity leave. Like, that's a lot. At the time of this article being published, at least 20 members of the London e-commerce team, around half of all its original staff, left after TikTok Shop's launch, while others say they're on the brink of quitting. There are people leaving every week. It is like a game. Every Monday we ask who has been fired, who has quit. And 2 employees have been paid settlements over working conditions. Now, what were their working conditions, you might ask? E-commerce team members in London said they were expected to frequently work more than 12 hours a day, starting early to accommodate calls with China and ending late as live streams were more successful in the evening. And they had to file feedback reports immediately after these evening live streams. This reminds me of like working in a newsroom. Like, this is intense stuff. And depending on what sort of work culture you're coming from, you might be like 12 hours a day. That's fine. Who cares? It's not humane. And more than it not being humane, it's not necessary. Like, why do they have to file feedback reports right after the live streams? Why do they have to watch the live streams? I don't know. I just think that sounds like a horrible department to work in at TikTok. But knowing that almost half of the e-commerce team quit after, starting this TikTok Shop work, it makes sense. It makes sense. Speaking of cultural differences, a then current employee, because who knows if they're still there now, told the FT, the TikTok Shop model doesn't work because it is a different market and ecosystem in the UK, but management doesn't listen and refuses to make changes. And they explained that European brands were uncomfortable with the level of discounting on their products. I lost credibility with merchants. This unwillingness to pay attention to cultural differences in different markets is a big fail, because if you read this article in full, you understand that the e-commerce team working on TikTok Shop was being given like wild targets to achieve, something like $40,000 in a live stream when even the most successful live streams were making $5,000. Or maybe this was in pounds, I don't remember. And you know, they set these high targets because they want their employees to aim high. They hired people who were coming from like Harrods and big department stores like that, people who would have connections with lots of British and European brands. Yet they expected these British and European brands to be comfortable with like intense discounting on their products. And it's just not the culture for them. And of course, this is a bit different because it's talking about, you know, trying to implement European and British brands into TikTok Shop. Whereas those videos that I showed you earlier, yes, all of those live sellers were British, I'm pretty sure. But the stuff they were selling, you know, they didn't even know where it was coming from. Like they weren't made in the UK or made in Portugal or anything like that, as far as I know. Speaking of so many of these live sellers not knowing where these products are coming from, so much of this stuff is going to be polyester or polyamide, fabrics that are not at all biodegradable. Polyamide being made out of synthetic polymers and polyester being made out of plastic. When it comes to polyester, 70 million barrels of oil are used to produce it annually. And some of these fast fashion sellers on TikTok might proudly claim that their clothes are made out of viscose, a plant-based fiber. But even viscose, which is made out of tree pulp, uses tons of harmful toxic chemicals in its production, and obviously because it's made out of trees, requires cutting down a lot of trees. And I feel like I talk about this a lot on my channel. I don't expect everyone in the world to always buy, you know, organic cotton and secondhand clothes and wool and silk and bamboo. That stuff is expensive. But I think we can just choose to ask the question of what is this made out of and is it what I want to spend my money on? And it might be what you need or want in that moment. But also if you question yourself a bit further, it might not be. I also want to address the fact that there are independent sellers, small businesses on TikTok Shop that are not drop shipping, that are making things by hand. Maybe they're making food, maybe they're making ceramics, I don't know. And there have been plenty of small businesses that have seen success from TikTok Shop and have been really proud of that success, which I think is great. So I don't think if you sell on TikTok Shop, that equals being bad. You're just looking for where the market is. And also if you are drop shipping and selling, you know, polyester garments that you bought online in a giant shipment to then sell on a live stream, you're probably not watching this video anyway, so yeah. Moving forward, I think the fact that shopping on TikTok Shop is so easy shouldn't stop us from still asking the questions that we normally would when we shop online. Assessing if we need that thing, thinking about how long we'll actually use it for, looking into what the material is made of and where the garment or product was made, where it's shipping from, and more. And if you can't easily find the answer to those questions, then you probably don't even want to know the answers.
We literally only do TikTok, so you won't find much information on us, guys. Thank God.
That's all I have to say for this topic today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and we can have a conversation. I want to hear what you think about TikTok Shop, if you feel like it's taken over your feed. Weirdly, I feel like in the UK it hasn't. On my personal phone for TikTok, I don't even have the shopping tab, I don't think. And then on my work phone, where I have TikTok for some like company accounts, I do see it. So I don't know, it's a bit weird, but it hasn't taken over my feed, thankfully. But I'm curious if it's taken over yours, so let me know and just what you think about TikTok Shop in general. As always, thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!